Hi, I'm Valery Molone, leadership coach, motivational speaker. I help women how to be leader of their life personally and professionally. I thank you so much for listening to this episode. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about 3 things to keep in mind when crises occur. The reason I picked this topic is because just not recently, I had a tragic accident that happened to my life. Well, it happened to my little puppy, so it was really, really hard for me. I was sitting one day in my backyard and looking at the gardens, and I was trying to play with my flowers, and 2 of my dogs, I have 2 French bulldogs. One is 6 years old, and the other one we just rescued is 9 months old. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, they just attack each other, and they got in a fight. I don't know, maybe they saw something in the bushes or something, but they got in a fight, and to the point that the baby actually lost his eye, one of his eye. So to make a long story short, I was devastated. I was so upset because here we adopted this puppy to give it a good home, a loving home, and take care of him. And then when we brought him home, he got in a fight with the other dog, and now he lost his eye. So that was really, really, really upsetting for me. And I literally took a time off from work, and I wanted to make sure that surgery goes well. I wanted to make sure he's healthy. So now he's a happy puppy again after lots of therapy. And I actually do meditation with him every single day to make sure that he's calm, cool, collective. So he's fine. But the reason I wanted to discuss this with you and I wanted to share this with you is because when that happened, I was so scared. Now, I've been through a lot of things in my life. I actually lost my first child when I was 14 years old. I became pregnant, he was born, and then after 3 months, he developed a pneumonia and he died. So back then, even though I was very devastated, but I was young, I didn't think that much as like when my puppy got hurt. So the comparison of 2, it was like, oh my God, like, when your life goes well, everything goes well, and all of a sudden something happens that you are not expecting, and all those memory comes back. So I want to give you 3 things that you keep in mind. I hope you never will have a crisis in your life, but if you do, these are the things that I learned that if you can keep in mind will help you tremendously. Number 1, just be aware of your thoughts. See, what happened is that the minute crisis happened, we always think about the past. All those little bad things that happen in your life from a childhood to the teenager to the adulthood, it comes and it just replays in our head. Because why? It was pain. It was something that you went through, that it was painful, that made you depressed, that made you give you stress, that gave you anxiety and fear and all of that. And all of a sudden, when this crisis happened, all of those emotion comes back. And it's literally paralyzed you emotionally. And that's what happened to me, because I was like, oh my God. And you come up with all these things that I'm a failure. What am I going to do? Oh my God, there we go again, another mistake. And that can apply in every area of your life. So it's very important to be aware of your thoughts when crisis happen. This is today. It happened, has nothing to do with the past. It doesn't represent you, who you are in the past and what mistake you made in the past. It's just right now. And if you can keep that in mind, believe it or not, even though crisis is never good, something that bad happened is never good, but at least you know that you're focusing more on now problem than bringing all those memories, bringing all those sorrowness, bringing all the disappointment feeling that you had from the past. Because as a human being, it just goes through you. You can't help it. But I learned that if I'm aware of it, then I keep bringing myself to the present moment. Okay, don't think about the past. This is not a past. What happened in the past, leave it in the past. Right now, let's deal with this situation that happened. Whether it's in your job, whether it's with your health, whether it's with your relationship, or whether it's with anything. Just remember that to not associate the present moment action with the past memory. That helped me a lot. Number 2, it's very important to know what step you're taking next. I know when crisis happen. When that happened to me, when my puppy got hurt, I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God, what to do? Should I call 911? Should I call like the vet? Should I like drive? What to do? And that took a lot of time. And I think that was one of the reasons he lost his eye, because I couldn't get to the vet fast enough, maybe. I don't know. And I'm not going to blame, like whatever happened, it happened. He's happy now. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's just, at that time, you're just all over the place. All over the place. And if something happened to you with the relationship, or with your health, or with your finance, or with your job, and that's the reaction we get. We get so paranoid. We're like, oh my God, what do we do first? Like, what, I don't know where to start, where to finish. But it's very important to just take a deep breath and say to yourself, okay, this has happened. And sometimes take even a day or two. This is what happened. What can I do next? What can I do next? Because if you do have that next step of what you're doing, it makes the process so much easier. Because if you don't, you're going to be thinking about a million things. Should I do this first? Should I do that first? Or somebody tells you, do this first, do that first. And you're just going to be all over the place. And time is just kind of like goes longer and longer without pain. So it's very important to just take some time. If something is not an emergency, take some time and say to yourself, what's the next step I can take to make this process at least a little bit better, so I can have some control over it. And if something is emergency, and especially with the health, and if you hear bad news, you go to the doctor, and God forbid, you get diagnosed with a cancer or some of these chronic diseases that today is happening, just take some time. Just take some time, breathe, don't think about the past, and say to yourself, what's the best next step that I can take to make the situation at least a little bit better? And believe it or not, when you do that, the whole situation, the whole mentality changes, your whole emotion changes. And sometimes things work for much better than it was even before. So it's very important to understand that what is the next step I'm taking? Whose advice am I taking? Where am I going? How is this going to benefit me? So when you can keep that in mind, it makes the crisis a little bit easier than normally happens. Number 3, and this is the important one. Majority of the time, when crises happen, we do what? We numb our feelings. So stay away from any kind of drugs, alcohol, or anything that interrupt your thoughts of thinking that what needs to be done in order to take care of the situation. And I could tell you from example of my own life, most of my life, that when I went through obstacle, what I did, I drank. Because I thought it was easy to handle, because it was so painful. For example, if you're grieving, or if you're losing a house, or you're living on the street, or you're losing a job, or you're losing a lot of money. And the first thing we do is like drink or smoke or take something, just to saying to ourselves that, oh, I'm thinking all day, I just have to relax for 5 minutes. That actually is making it worse. It doesn't make it better. And it changes your emotion. It changes your thoughts. It takes you to a negative place. And God forbid, if you do take an action from that negative place, sometime you'll end up dead. I mean, look, so many successful people, we hear it on TV. They have money, they have family, they have life, they have everything. People wishing to have their life, and they committed suicide. Why? Because something must have happened, and they just went to drug, and they just drank, and they weren't thinking, and they just killed themselves. They took their lives. And unfortunately, sometimes that does happen. So, alcohol just enhances the negative emotion. Drug just enhance. At the moment, you will get numb. Yeah, it will block it at the moment. But on top of what happened to you, you're going to feel guilty. Because for me, when I drank, it slowed my time down, number one. I fell asleep. And then when I wake up, the problem was still there. And I couldn't think clearly because the alcohol was still in me and I was hangover. So please, if anything happened in your life, make sure you stay away from drugs and alcohol. So these are the 3 things that I do, things that happen in my life to stay focused and take care of the problem. And I hope this will help you too. Now, this is the first time I'm going to say I hope you will never use these 3 strategies that I'm giving you, because I want your life to be wonderful and happy all the time. But unfortunately, sometimes in life things happen. So if you do get caught, or if you do have something that is bothering you that's happening in your life out of nowhere, these 3 strategies would definitely help you. Thank you so much. Till next time, have a great day.